At 2:03 a.m., I was barefoot in my son's driveway when the upstairs light snapped on and my daughter-in-law screamed, "She heard us. Get her before she reaches the gate." 3 weeks earlier, I still thought I was staying with family. My name is Margaret Hale. I'm 72, widowed, and until that spring I had lived alone for 6 years in the same brick house where my husband and I raised our children. I drove, handled my own money, argued with the insurance company, and remembered my appointments without anybody writing them on a refrigerator for me. Then a pipe burst under my kitchen sink. The water ruined part of the floor and 2 cabinets. The insurance company said repairs would take at least 2 weeks, and my son Daniel insisted I stay with him. "Mom, you're not sleeping in a house full of fans and exposed drywall." His wife, Claire, sounded even more concerned. "We have the guest room ready. You won't have to do a thing." Daniel lived 40 minutes away with Claire and their 16-year-old son, Noah. The first few days were fine. Then Claire started asking about my money. Did insurance cover the kitchen? Did I still have a mortgage? What was my house worth now? One morning I found an opened bank statement on the kitchen island. "I thought it was junk," Claire said. "My name is on it." She smiled. I didn't notice. 2 nights later, Daniel asked whether I still had the life insurance money from his father. We were sitting on the back patio. He stared at the fire pit instead of me. "Why?" "No reason, just making sure you're comfortable." "I'm comfortable." He rubbed both hands over his face. Daniel had done that since he was a boy, whenever he was hiding something. After a long silence, he said, "Business has been tight." "How tight?" "Nothing you need to worry about." "Then why are you asking about my money?" His mouth tightened. I said, "It's fine, Mom." The next morning, Claire brought tea to my room. I drink coffee. She knew that. "This will help you relax," she said. I slept fine. "Daniel said you were up." I went to the bathroom. She left the mug by my bed. It smelled sweet and strangely medicinal. I took 1 sip, then poured the rest down the sink. That afternoon, she asked, "Feeling okay?" "Perfect." Her eyes stayed on me a second too long. After that, small things began happening. My car keys disappeared. An insurance estimate vanished from my purse and reappeared beside their printer. Then I got a call from a place called Lakeview Cognitive Wellness. A woman asked me to confirm an appointment for Monday. "I don't have an appointment." She read my full name and date of birth. I stood in the kitchen gripping the phone. "What kind of appointment?" "A cognitive assessment." I never scheduled that. The woman hesitated. "Perhaps a family member." Claire took the phone out of my hand. "My mother-in-law gets overwhelmed on calls," she said brightly. "I'll handle it." I reached for it. "Give me my phone." She ended the call. "Daniel asked me to arrange something because you've seemed forgetful." "Forgetful how?" "Little things. The stove, your keys, the front door. I haven't used your stove." She gave me a patient smile that made my skin crawl. "This defensiveness is exactly why we wanted to be careful." That evening, Daniel came home, and I asked him directly, "What happens Monday?" He put down his bag. "Just an evaluation." "Based on what?" "You've been a little forgetful." "Give me one example." He looked at Claire. That look scared me. Claire said, "You left the front door open Tuesday at 5 in the morning." I stared at her. "I went out for the newspaper at 7. Noah saw you." Noah was halfway down the stairs. I looked at him. "Did you tell your mother I was outside at 5? His face went pale. "No." Claire turned sharply. "Noah." I said Grandma went outside early, like 7. The room went silent. Claire recovered first. "See? Everyone remembers things differently. That's why an evaluation helps." I went upstairs and called my oldest friend, Irene. She listened without interrupting. Then she said, "Check your wallet." "My wallet?" "Just check it." My driver's license and credit cards were there. My Medicare card was gone. So was my supplemental insurance card. I searched the purse twice. Irene said, "Leave tonight. My kitchen isn't livable. Stay with me. I don't want to accuse my son because Claire opened an envelope." "Then don't accuse him. Take a cab and leave." I looked out the window. Claire was pacing in the backyard with her phone. "I'll go after dinner. I don't want a scene." Irene sighed. Sometimes avoiding a scene is how people end up trapped in one. At dinner, I began to think Irene was right. Halfway through the meal, my knees turned soft. I grabbed the edge of the table. Claire was beside me immediately. "Margaret?" "I'm fine." My tongue felt thick. The lights looked too bright. I had eaten chicken, potatoes, green beans, and half a glass of water. Claire had poured the water. I looked at her. She wasn't watching me with concern. She was studying me. I made it upstairs by holding the railing. The next clear thing I remember is waking after 3 with one shoe on and no memory of lying down. For one awful moment, I wondered whether they were right. Then I remembered the strange tea. At breakfast, Claire watched me carefully. No dizziness? No. No confusion? Should there be? Her smile tightened. After Daniel left, I went to the garage to look for my keys. I didn't find them. I did find my small overnight bag shoved behind a shelf. It had been opened. Inside was an empty prescription bottle that did not belong to me. The label had been peeled off. I slipped it into my robe pocket. The door clicked behind me. Claire stood there. "What are you doing?" "Looking for my keys. We've been through this. My bag was out here. Daniel probably moved it." "Why?" "You'd have to ask him." Her eyes dropped to the pocket where I had hidden the bottle. Then she said softly, "You've been very suspicious lately." "Have I?" "That can be a symptom too." I walked past her. An hour later, my phone stopped working. It said no SIM card. Claire acted surprised. "Why would I touch your phone?" I didn't answer. That afternoon, Noah knocked on my door and closed it behind him. "Grandma, did Mom give you one of those white pills last night?" My stomach tightened. "What pills?" "I saw her crushing something in the laundry room. Then she put powder in a glass. Before dinner." He nodded. "Why are you telling me now?" He showed me a text from Claire. "If Grandma asks about Tuesday morning, remember she was outside around 5. We need to keep the story consistent for the doctor." I read it twice. "Send that to Irene." Mom checks my phone. "Email it. Right now." He did. Then he whispered, "Dad and Mom have been fighting about money. I heard Mom say, 'Your mother can fix this and she doesn't even have to know.'" I felt anger cut through the fear. "Do you know where my car keys are?" Noah nodded. "Mom's desk." While Claire was on a work call, Noah showed me where she hid the desk key. Inside were my car keys, my missing medical cards, a copy of my license, and a folder with my full name across the top. I opened it. The first page said, "Petition for Emergency Guardianship." It described me as disoriented, prone to wandering, and unable to manage money. Daniel was named as guardian. The next page listed my house at $487,000, along with bank balances I had never shown Claire. A doctor I had never met had supposedly documented episodes of acute confusion. I heard Claire's office chair move. Noah and I put everything back except my keys and insurance cards. He relocked the drawer. We were halfway upstairs when Claire stepped into the hall. Her eyes went straight to the keys in my hand. "Where did you get those?" "Your desk." Her face lost color. "You went through my things?" "My things were in your locked drawer." Noah froze beside me. Claire shut her office door. "Margaret, you don't understand what you saw." Then explain the guardianship petition. "It's a draft calling me incompetent. It was prepared in case your condition worsens." "What condition?" "You need to lower your voice." "I'm leaving." She stepped closer. "You can't drive." "I can. You were confused last night. I was drugged last night." Her eyes flicked toward Noah. Then she laughed softly. "Oh, Margaret." She picked up her phone. "Who are you calling?" "Daniel. He came home less than 20 minutes later. Too fast." He walked through the garage and looked from me to Claire. "Mom, I saw the folder." Claire said. She broke into my desk. "My documents were in your desk." Daniel rubbed both hands over his face. "Can we sit down?" "No." "Did you sign that petition?" He looked at the floor. "Daniel, it wasn't filed. You signed it. It was a draft. Did you tell a clinic I was confused?" He didn't answer. "Did you give Claire my bank information?" His shoulders dropped. "Mom, the business is in trouble." "How much trouble?" He sat down on the bottom stair. 412,000. I stared at him. "How?" He said it so quietly I almost missed it. "Sports betting." Claire looked disgusted. Daniel continued, "I kept borrowing because I thought I could recover it. And when you couldn't, you decided my house was your solution." "No, the petition says otherwise. Claire stepped in. We were creating options by making me legally incompetent, by protecting assets before creditors destroy this family. My house is not your asset, Daniel said. Nobody was going to sell anything without talking to you. You hid my keys. He looked at Claire. You stole my medical cards. Claire said nothing. You put something in my drink. Daniel turned toward her. What? She said. Don't. I looked at him. Noah saw her crush a pill. Daniel's face changed. You drugged my mother? It was melatonin. You put medication in her drink without telling her? She needed sleep. I believed his surprise. That did not make him innocent. It only told me Claire had gone farther than he knew. Then Claire exploded. You want the truth? Your son is days from losing the company and this house. Private lenders are calling every day. You are sitting on a paid-off home and savings. You don't know what I have. I know exactly what you have. Daniel looked at her. What does that mean? She went still. I asked, how do you know exactly what I have? Claire's phone rang. She looked at the screen and walked away. Yes? A man spoke on the other end. She lowered her voice. No, she found it. Daniel took the phone from her. The call ended. He stared at the name on the screen. Grant? I knew the name. Grant Mercer was a financial advisor Daniel had introduced me to. At Christmas, he had spent half the evening telling me I should consolidate my estate planning. Daniel looked at Claire. Why is Grant calling you? Because he's helping us. With what? Everything. Daniel opened her recent calls. 11 calls today. Give me my phone. Why are you calling him 11 times? She slapped Daniel across the face. The sound cracked through the hallway. Noah opened his door upstairs. Then Claire started crying. I'm trying to keep this family alive. Daniel softened. I didn't. I picked up my purse. I'm leaving now. Daniel looked at me. Give me 5 minutes. I'll move my truck. He went outside and moved it away from my car. For the first time all day, I thought maybe I could simply drive away. I was wrong. I carried my suitcase downstairs. The garage door would not open. Through the glass, I could see a chair wedged under the handle. The front door had a second slide lock near the top of the frame, too high for me to reach. I dragged a bench toward it. Claire's voice came from the dark kitchen. You'll hurt yourself. I turned. She was standing in the doorway. Move. Daniel thinks we should all sleep on this. He just moved his truck so I could leave. He changed his mind. Where is he? In the shower. No water was running upstairs. Claire took one step toward me. You are not going anywhere tonight. There it was. No smile. No patient voice. I was trapped, so I stopped fighting. I smiled at her. Fine. She looked suspicious. You'll stay? Until morning. I'm exhausted. Her shoulders relaxed. Good. I left the suitcase by the stairs and went back to the guest room. Then I locked the door and stayed fully dressed. At 11:30, someone tried my door. After one, a dark gray SUV stopped 2 houses away. Grant Mercer got out. I watched him walk to the side of the house. My mouth went dry. I opened my bedroom door and went halfway down the stairs. Voices came from the kitchen. Claire, Daniel, Grant. Grant said, if she goes to the clinic Monday, this is still salvageable. Daniel said, she's not going. Claire replied, she will, if she can't safely be discharged anywhere else. I gripped the railing. Grant lowered his voice. You need one documented event tonight. Confusion, a fall, wandering, something that establishes risk. Daniel said, no. Claire snapped, you don't get to grow a conscience after signing everything. I said no. Grant said, then you lose the company. I'll lose it. The house too. I'll lose it. And the private note? Daniel went silent. Claire said, tell him. Grant asked, how much? Daniel muttered, 80. 80,000? Silence. Grant swore. Then Claire said, if she has an episode tonight, we call an ambulance. I tell them she attacked me. Daniel confirms she's been confused for weeks. The hospital keeps her for observation. Monday, we file emergency guardianship while she's admitted. My fingers dug into the railing. Daniel said, and if she tells them you drugged her, they won't believe her if the screen shows medication in her system that she claims she never took. Grant's voice changed. What medication? Enough to make her groggy. Nothing dangerous. You already gave it to her? Daniel asked. Claire did not answer. Grant said, you people are insane. Claire kept going. Once Daniel has temporary control, the bridge loan gets funded against her property. We pay the private lenders. Then we handle the business. Daniel said, "You said no one would touch her house. It's collateral. It's her home. And this is ours." Grant suddenly asked, "Where is she?" My heart stopped. "Upstairs," Claire said. "Awake?" "I don't know." "Then check." I moved backward. A stair creaked. The kitchen went silent. I ran. I got to the guest room, locked the door, grabbed my purse, and looked at the window. Second floor, too high. Then I remembered the attic access inside the guest room closet. Noah had shown it to me while looking for Christmas boxes. The narrow space ran over the garage to Daniel's office. Someone knocked. "Mom?" "Daniel." I shoved my suitcase aside and crawled into the dark opening. "Mom, open the door." I moved through dust and insulation as the bedroom handle rattled behind me. A nail tore my nightgown. Then everything went quiet. They were listening. I reached the second panel and pushed it into Daniel's office closet. I climbed down, landed on one knee, and nearly cried out. The office had a small balcony. I stepped outside. Cold air hit my face. The balcony hung over the sloped porch roof. I had joked when Daniel bought the place that it was designed for teenagers sneaking out. At 72, I became the teenager. I climbed over the railing. My robe snagged. I slid onto the porch roof, scraping both hands. The guest room light came on behind me. I crawled to the edge, lowered myself as far as I could, and let go. I landed badly, rolled onto the grass, and lost one slipper. Pain shot through my ankle. I grabbed the slipper and ran. At 2:03 a.m., I was barefoot in my son's driveway when the upstairs light snapped on and my daughter-in-law screamed, "She heard us. Get her before she reaches the gate." I had one slipper in my hand, my purse under my nightgown, and no idea whether the car behind me belonged to my son or the man they'd hired. The gray SUV's headlights came on. I ran toward the street. The SUV suddenly backed away from the curb and sped off. Grant was leaving. I reached Daniel's truck. The driver's door opened. Daniel stepped out. I screamed, "Mom, stop. Get away from me." "I'm not stopping you. You locked me in." "I didn't." "Move." He stepped toward me, and I swung the slipper at his face. He caught my wrist. I kicked him in the shin. He let go. The front door flew open. Claire ran outside with her phone. "She's confused," she shouted into it. "She climbed out a window. She's wandering in the street." I understood immediately. She was creating the event anyway. I ran for the sidewalk. Daniel grabbed her phone and threw it onto the lawn. "What are you doing?" "You idiot," she screamed. At the corner, a porch light came on. One of Daniel's neighbors, Mr. Alvarez, stepped outside in pajama pants. "Ma'am." "Please," I said. "Call the police." Claire was running after me. "Don't. She's having an episode." I must have looked exactly like the person she had been describing for weeks. Hair loose, nightgown torn, bare feet, bleeding palms. Then Noah ran out of the house. "Mr. Alvarez, call them. Call the police." The neighbor pulled out his phone. Claire stopped in the street. Daniel came after her. "Noah, go inside." "No." Claire turned toward him. "You have no idea what you've done." I walked back toward my grandson. "You were planning to drug me and lie to a hospital," I told Claire. Mr. Alvarez stared at her. Then Claire did something so fast none of us reacted. She slapped herself. Hard. Then she scratched her own cheek with her nails and screamed. Noah whispered, "Mom, what are you doing?" She pointed at me. "She hit me." Daniel stared at her. "Claire, she attacked me when I tried to stop her from driving." The first police car turned onto the street. By the time 2 officers got out, Claire was crying. Her cheek was red, and I looked like a barefoot mad woman who had climbed off a roof. An officer approached me carefully. "Ma'am, are you Margaret?" "Yes." "Do you know where you are?" I gave him the address, the city, the date, the approximate time, and then read his badge number back to him. His expression changed. "What happened?" I forced myself to speak slowly. "My daughter-in-law has been giving me medication without my consent and creating false evidence that I have dementia. She and my son prepared guardianship papers so they can use my house for his debts. Tonight I overheard her planning to stage a medical incident and say I attacked her. Across the yard, Claire shouted, "She's paranoid. This is exactly what I told you." The officer raised a hand. I opened my purse. I also have an empty prescription bottle I found hidden in my bag. It is not mine. He took it. Then Noah walked over. I have texts. He showed them the message about keeping the story consistent for the doctor. Claire stopped crying. That was the first crack. The ambulance arrived. When a paramedic asked about my medications, Claire shouted from the driveway, "She takes lorazepam." I have never been prescribed lorazepam. The paramedic looked at Daniel. "Does your mother take it?" He looked at Claire, then at me. "No," he said. "She doesn't." Claire stared at him. I was taken to the hospital. Daniel tried to follow. I told him not to. At the hospital, I called Irene from a nurse's phone. She arrived before sunrise wearing jeans, a sweater over her pajamas, and 2 different earrings. My ankle was sprained, not broken. The blood test mattered more. A doctor came in just after 5:30. "We found a benzodiazepine in your system." "Which one?" "Lorazepam." The room went cold. "I don't take lorazepam." "I understand." The police asked us to preserve a sample. I asked for copies of everything. A detective named Elena Ruiz came to speak with me later that morning. She had already talked to Daniel, Claire, Noah, Mr. Alvarez, and the officers. When I mentioned Grant Mercer, she stopped writing. "Do you have accounts with him?" "No." "Did you ever sign a power of attorney for your son?" "No." "Any reason someone would have copies of your balances?" "None." Then she said, "Call your daughter." My daughter Rebecca lived in Oregon. She answered on the second ring. I told her enough to make her go silent. Then she said, "Mom, Daniel asked me for $20,000 in January." "What?" "He said it was payroll. He never told me. There's more. Claire called in March asking who your lawyer was. She said you were updating your will." "I wasn't." Detective Ruiz heard that and asked for Rebecca's number. By 9 that morning, Irene and I were at my bank. The branch manager, Mr. Patel, had known me for years. He took one look at my ankle brace and locked his office door. I told him to freeze anything unusual. He pulled up my accounts and frowned. "Did you add Daniel as an authorized signer?" "No. There's a pending request using a power of attorney." "I never signed one." Then he found something else. "There is a transfer scheduled for Monday." "How much?" $250,000. Irene grabbed my arm. "To where?" "A commercial escrow account." My stomach dropped. They had not been preparing to use my money. They had already started. Mr. Patel froze everything and changed my access codes. He also found that my investment statements had been redirected to Daniel's house. That explained how Claire knew exactly what I had. Outside the bank, Irene's phone rang. "Daniel." She looked at me. "Answer it." She put him on speaker. "Mom? What?" "Claire's gone." I looked at Irene. "What do you mean, gone?" She took her car. "The folder is gone. Cash is missing from the safe." "Where is Noah?" "With an officer. He's okay." "Where is Grant?" I called his office. He canceled everything this morning. Then Daniel said, "I found messages." I waited. Claire and Grant have been seeing each other. That was almost too simple. Of course they had. "How long?" "I don't know. Months." "What do the messages say?" His voice cracked. She told him once the money cleared, they could be done with me. I sat on the bench outside the bank. Daniel continued, "Mom, I thought the bridge loan was for the company. I thought the guardianship papers gave us an emergency option if you agreed later. You signed a document saying I was incompetent. I know. You lied to doctors. I know. You helped trap me in that house. No, I didn't know Claire wedged the door. You hid my keys." Silence. "That was you?" He said, "I gave them to Claire because I thought you'd leave before we could talk." I closed my eyes. "Did you know she submitted a power of attorney?" "What power of attorney?" His surprise sounded real. It did not absolve him. It only meant he had been dishonest in a smaller circle than Claire. I said, "Tell Detective Ruiz everything. Every loan, every message, every lie. Will you come back to the house?" "No." "Mom?" "No." I hung up. By noon, Detective Ruiz called. Claire's car had been found at the airport parking garage. No Claire, no Grant. Then Daniel realized Claire had taken a passport from his home. He thought it was Noah's. It was mine. That made no sense because my passport had been locked in a box at my house, so Claire had been inside my home too. The repairs had made access easy. Claire had even met contractors at my house. Detective Ruiz went there with us. My document box was empty. Passport, birth certificate, deed, my husband's death certificate, all gone. On the shelf below it, the detective found an envelope containing a copy of a durable power of attorney. Daniel was listed as primary agent, Grant Mercer as alternate. My signature was at the bottom. It looked almost right. Almost. Then I remembered a birthday card from 2 months earlier. Claire had asked me to sign a blank insert because she was putting together a card for her mother. I had joked, "Don't use my signature to buy a yacht." She had laughed. Police found Grant that afternoon at a motel with cash, 2 phones, and copies of my financial records. Claire was not with him, but their messages confirmed the affair, and a second plan. Detective Ruiz came to Irene's house that evening and placed one printed email in front of me. It was from Claire to Grant. Once the transfer clears, D signs everything because he thinks it saves the company. M gets placed long enough for us to close. After that, the lender goes after D anyway. He'll think it all failed. By the time he realizes the escrow is ours, we're gone. I read it twice. D is Daniel, yes. M is me, yes. So she was going to steal from both of us. That is what the evidence suggests. I did not feel sorry for Daniel. He had helped build the cage. He just had not known Claire planned to trap him too. Then Claire called me from an unknown number while Irene and Detective Ruiz were with me. I answered on speaker. "Margaret," Claire said softly. "No apology. No panic. I need you to listen." "I'm listening." "Daniel is blaming me for everything." "Is he?" "He signed the papers. He made the calls. He gave us your information. I know what he did." "No, you know what he admitted." That caught me. What didn't he admit? A pause. Then she said, "Ask him about February 14th. The call ended. Irene looked at me. Valentine's Day. I remembered immediately. I had fallen on my back steps that morning. Daniel and Claire took me to urgent care, and on the drive home I had been so sleepy I could barely keep my eyes open. I blamed the clinic. Detective Ruiz called the clinic. They had given me ibuprofen. Nothing else. That evening, Daniel came to Irene's house with his lawyer. I asked him one question. What happened on February 14th? His face changed. His lawyer told him he did not have to answer. Daniel stared at the floor. "Claire gave you something?" I stood. "You knew?" "I found out afterward." "What did she give me?" "Lorazepam." My hands started shaking. "Why?" "She wanted you to seem unsteady at urgent care. She said it would start a record. You let her drug me in February and said nothing." I confronted her. "And then you helped prepare a guardianship petition 2 months later." He covered his face. I was desperate. "That is not an answer." "No." Then another thought hit me. Did I fall by accident? His head came up. "Yes." "Are you sure?" "Mom, yes." "Was Claire at my house before you arrived?" He frowned. "She was already there." "Why?" "She said you called her." "I called you." He stared at me. Detective Ruiz wrote something down. The leaves on my back step had been thick that morning. I remembered because I had swept them away the day before. No one could prove anything then. Before Daniel left, he said, "Mom, I'm sorry." I looked at him. Maybe he expected anger. Maybe forgiveness. "Tell Noah I love him." That was all. At 11:38 that night, a patrol officer saw a light inside my house, my empty, newly rekeyed house. Police went in. Claire was in my bedroom. She had somehow gotten a temporary access code from the contractor. A suitcase lay open on my bed. Inside were my passport, deed, birth certificate, checkbooks, my mother's wedding ring, cash from Daniel's safe, and a bottle of lorazepam with the label removed. She was arrested. Grant began cooperating because he believed Claire planned to blame him. A storage unit tied to him held files on other older clients, widows and retirees with property and savings. In messages, he called some of them soft assets. My file was one of the thickest. Then the police found an audio recording made in my kitchen months earlier. Claire had secretly recorded me while asking casual questions about my will. On the recording, I told her Rebecca was my executor, not Daniel. After Claire left my house, she forgot to stop the recording. It captured her sitting in her car and calling Grant. "It's the daughter, not Daniel," Claire said. "That complicates it," Grant answered. "Then we need Margaret to change it." "Not unless she's already impaired," Claire said. "She isn't." Those two words mattered. She isn't. Months before Claire started telling people I wandered, forgot things, and could not manage my money, she had said plainly that I was not impaired. The rest of the call was worse. Grant asked if my house was paid off. Claire said yes. He asked whether I had debt. No. He asked how quickly Rebecca would notice unusual financial activity. Claire said, "Fast." Grant replied, "Then don't move fast." The pipe under my sink had seemed like bad luck. A week later, my insurance adjuster called. The fitting that failed under my sink had been loosened. "It can happen naturally," I'd seen, he said. But this fitting was fairly new. My throat tightened. Who installed it? I already knew. Daniel had, and he had been at my house the weekend before the leak. Detective Ruiz told me not to contact him. The police questioned him. First he said he had not touched the pipe. Then he said he had tightened it. Then finally he admitted the truth. Claire had suggested creating a small leak, so I would need somewhere to stay. Daniel loosened the fitting himself. He claimed he expected a drip. Instead it failed and ruined part of my kitchen. I called Daniel. "So you damaged my house to get me into yours. I thought it would be a small leak. Then you hid my keys, signed papers saying I was incompetent, and stayed quiet after Claire drugged me." Silence. "Yes." I stopped trying to separate the part of him that was manipulated from the part that chose this. Then he said something new. "Claire told me the private lenders knew Noah's school." "What?" She said if I didn't fix the debt, they might go after him. Did anyone ever threaten Noah? No. Investigators later confirmed there had been no threat to Noah. Claire had invented it. She had found the one fear that could push Daniel farther than money could. That did not make him innocent. It made him useful. By early summer, Daniel had been charged along with Claire and Grant. My accounts were secure. The false power of attorney was void, and the house was still mine. I moved back after the repairs were finished. The first night home, I checked every lock 4 times. I stood in the kitchen staring at the new pipe under the sink and hated that something so ordinary could make my hands shake. Then I went to bed. At 1:52 a.m., my security camera sent an alert. Motion at the side gate. I sat upright. A hooded figure stood outside. For 1 second, I was back on Daniel's porch roof. Then the figure stepped into the light. "Noah." I called him. "What are you doing here?" "Grandma, can you open the door?" "Why aren't you at your aunt's?" "Please." I called his aunt first. She had just discovered he was gone. Then I let him in. He carried a backpack. His face was white. "What happened?" "Mom called me." Every muscle in my body tightened. "She's not supposed to contact you." "I know." "What did she want?" He pulled out his phone. "I recorded it." Claire's voice played through the speaker. "Baby, people are lying about me." Noah said, "You drugged Grandma." "It wasn't like that. You told me to lie. I was trying to keep the family together." Then Claire's voice changed. "There is a blue flash drive in your dad's office, behind the bottom drawer. I need you to get it." "Why?" "It has family videos." "Then why do you need it before the police find it?" "Noah, just get it." "No. If they find it, your father could go to prison for a very long time." The recording ended. I looked at him. "Did you go get it?" He nodded. My heart sank. Then he reached into the backpack and placed a blue flash drive on my table. I looked at it. He whispered, "What's on it?" His eyes filled with tears. "Videos of your house." Detective Ruiz arrived within minutes. The drive contained months of hidden camera footage. One camera had been inside a digital photo frame Claire gave me for Christmas. Another near my kitchen smoke detector. They had recorded me opening mail, unlocking my document box, talking to family, and entering account information. That was how Claire knew everything. There was footage of her entering my house when I was away, photographing statements, trying spare keys, and searching my medicine cabinet. Then Detective Ruiz showed me a clip from February 13th, the night before my fall. Claire walked onto my back porch carrying a grocery bag. A few minutes later, she returned holding my broom. The camera did not show the steps clearly, but the next morning the leaves I had swept away were back, right where I fell. No one could prove she intended to make me fall. Then another video started. Daniel entered my kitchen the Saturday before the pipe burst. He opened the cabinet under the sink. He looked over his shoulder. Then he loosened the fitting. Not checked, not tightened, loosened. The video had no sound. It did not need any. I watched it once. I did not watch it again. Through her lawyer, Claire suggested that if certain charges disappeared, private family material would never become public. Investigators treated it as possible blackmail. Then Grant changed his story and claimed Daniel had planned everything. Then police searched Grant's office again and found a third phone hidden behind a false panel. On it was a voice memo from 6 months earlier. Claire and Grant were arguing. Claire said, "Daniel is too scared to do this without pushing." Grant said, "Then push him. He worships his mother. Everyone has a price. His isn't money. What is it?" Noah. That was where the fake threat against my grandson came from. Not lenders. Them. Grant's new story collapsed. By late summer, the company was being sold off. Daniel had lost the house and moved into a small apartment. Noah stayed mostly with Claire's sister while the criminal case dragged forward. I saw Noah often. I saw Daniel once. Noah had a school concert, and Daniel was standing on the other side of the auditorium lobby when I arrived. He looked older. He saw me. Neither of us moved. Then Noah came through the doors with his trumpet case. He looked from his father to me and stopped, like he thought he had to choose which direction to walk. So I went to him first. "You were good," I said. "I missed a note. I didn't hear it. You definitely heard it. I'm 72. Convenient hearing." He smiled. Daniel came closer but stopped several feet away. "Hi, Mom." Daniel. That was all. No apology, no argument, no forgiveness scene. Outside, Noah went with his father. I walked to my own car. Before I got in, Noah ran back and hugged me. Then he said, "Lock your doors." I looked at him. He gave me a small grin. "You too," I said. I drove home alone. The kitchen light was on because I had left it on. There was no strange car at the curb, no shadow at the side gate, no one waiting inside. I locked the door, set my purse on the counter, and put my keys in the little ceramic dish by the wall. In the morning, they were exactly where I had left them.